It's pretty amazing how far the design of homes has come since early man was looking for a way to stay out of the rain. There are some houses that have been built from million-dollar mansions to small private homes that will obviously blow your mind. However, you might not have seen some of these cool and crazy concept houses that some incredibly creative architects have come up with. From glass houses to amazing tiny homes in the trees, check out these crazy architect concept houses. The Kramlik Residence. Imagine a glass double helix designed home perched on a high ridge above some vineyards, and then, just for a moment, imagine living in it. From above it looks like a translucent spaceship, but from the ground, hidden behind a huge veil of trees, it is almost invisible. Named after its owners, Pamela and Richard Kramlik, this house was built as a living space and a dedicated area for their decades-old collection of modern art. The house is mostly glass, as you can see, leaving little room for privacy. However, the house is out in the middle of nowhere, so you've got no neighbors to worry about. Inside, there are over 200 different works of modern art which decorate each space of the home. Some of the works span clear back to the 60s to present day and includes a diverse range of media including video, film, slide, and photography, as well as related sculpture, paintings, and drawings from some big-name contemporary artists. The house was designed by Herzog and de Meuron and developed over the course of 2 decades and features a crystalline pavilion which they say balances transparency and shelter. There is a beautiful spiral rotunda and concrete staircase which leads below ground to a series of museum-grade gallery spaces. For instance, one room underground has a concrete skylight opening, and just below an electronic painting changes in high-definition color. In another room, called the Enclave, there is a 6-channel video projection system set up to display on 6 different double-sided screens. Casa Sierra Fria. In a residential neighborhood in Mexico City, there is a 3-story house called the Casa Sierra Fria, which was designed by Mexican architecture firm PPAA. Daylight enters the entire home from the glass terrace above, and a very tall black concrete wall keeps out any intruders while allowing for complete privacy on the ground floor, but yet gives a nice view from the top of the house, where there is a patio on the rooftop where the residents can lounge in a hammock. The property rises from the center of the block in 3 stacked levels built from the bottom. The 350 square meter home was built in 2018 and features a very modern contemporary look with natural wood floors and slate blue walls. The main living areas are on the ground floor that has access to gardens outside. Inside, there's a nice lounge with large sliding doors which open right to the outside. There is a second lounge and a dining room that is placed at the rear of the property. Peter Pickler Treehouses. Imagine walking along into a forest and suddenly seeing these things pop up out of the trees. A Milan-based studio named Peter Pickler Architecture developed a really neat concept for sustainable tree houses in the forest of the Italian Dolomites. It's actually a clever concept that was envisioned to be an addition to an existing hotel. We are not sure about you, but we wouldn't mind spending a few nights in one of these cool-looking modern tree houses. You'll notice the design was meant to fit in with the trees, with the sharply pitched roofs and the tree-like geometry. Each one of the units has 2 levels and can range in size from 376 to 450 square feet of space. That's not too bad for a tree house. Interiors are constructed from wood with the outside clad in blackened timber. The lower level has a small reading lounge area, while the upper level includes the sleeping area and a small bathroom. The 2 levels are connected by a small internal staircase. Huge windows give the occupants an amazing view of the Italian mountains. And when you've seen enough, the large curtains can be closed for privacy. Would you stay in one of these? Tell us what you think in the comments. Talleresque Suspended Treehouse. If you thought those previous treehouses were cool, then check out this suspended treehouse which was built by Mexican architect firm Talleresque. When first seeing this house, it appears to float like a lantern, illuminating the entire forest. The house is located in one of Mexico City's green areas, and people call it Casa Flotante, which means floating house, and it's elevated on stilts to mimic the surrounding trees. It's a spacious home with 936 square feet and 3 stories, and contains multiple living spaces which include both outdoor and indoor areas. The ground floor has a multi-purpose studio with a workspace, a kitchenette, and a dedicated area for a drum set. There's a beautiful balcony area with a lot of plants, and it's warmly lit with LED lights. The perfect place to chill out after a hard day. Underneath the large timber platform is a water cistern and plenty of storage. An outdoor staircase wraps the entire home and leads to the first floor, where you'll find a bathroom and shower. Of course, the bedroom is located on the third and final top floor with an awesome view of the surrounding forest. When it comes to tree houses, this one so far looks the coolest. Papa's house. Some people might be familiar with the architect Frank Lloyd Wright, who is known as one of America's most prolific and renowned architects. This house, called Papa's House, was built in 1960 and was recently on sale for $1.2 million. It's located in the suburbs of St. Louis, Missouri, and it was designed with the intention of making it easy enough for people to build their own homes. The 2,310 square foot home sits on 3.36 acres of land, and it has 4 large bedrooms and 2 bathrooms among the other living spaces. It took 4 long years to design the house, and by 1964, the house was completed and cost 4 times as much as the original budget. The inside is incredibly spacious, and the holes in the brick allow sunlight to illuminate the living areas. Kenya Bird's Nest. If you've ever wondered what it would be like to sleep in a giant eagle's nest, then we've found your next tourist destination. And this one is a pretty crazy idea all on its own. Located in Kenya, guests visiting one of the best-known safaris there can now spend a night or 2 in a giant bird's nest, elevated far above the trees. It was built alongside a river at the heart of Laikipia, which has a lot of safari lodges and camping. The nest was built using raw materials from the surrounding area, farmed wood and tree branches that were woven together by local community members. After a long day on safari, lanterns are lit which illuminate the entire structure, and guests are greeted with champagne and a picnic-style dinner on the top deck. After the sun goes down, visitors can enjoy the sparkling African sky, or move indoors, where they'll get luxurious linens and comforting hot water bottles. The next morning, guests get a surprise of a picnic breakfast on their doorstep, which can be enjoyed while watching the elephants and giraffes taking a morning drink at the river below. While all that sounds like the adventure of a lifetime, there is a special rate for those who stay 5 nights or more. But if you want to stay just a day or 2, be prepared to spend $1,150 per night. Dutch Mountain Home. Here's a really cool home that was built with the idea of keeping the client's demand for the smallest ecological footprint possible. In order to do that while still keeping the space needed for the family, the house was embedded in a hill which acts as both camouflage and a blanket, using the earth as thermal insulation. The house is almost completely hidden from view on the north side, but on the south side, you can see there is something really cool here. The house is really an unfinished concrete shell, with different areas of the house being decorated by its inhabitants. Bedrooms and bathrooms are at the rear of the house. In one room, there is a reconditioned car that has had its engine removed and was positioned and anchored to the wall to function as a bookshelf and cabinet. One set of stairs is made up of skateboard decks, and on one side of the house is a really cool bubble plexiglass window for the kids to look out of. Love to house. Some people have a lot of space to work with when it comes to building a home. But what happens when you've got little space and want to build something that feels like home? You do what Takeshi Hosaka did when he built this 19 square meter concrete hut for 2 in Tokyo, where real estate is a premium and quite expensive. The small compact hut is actually a detached concrete structure with a round skylight that lets in enough natural light to save on electricity. The house was built in a tiny 29.53 square meter plot and designed to meet the 5 elements that made the Roman ideal for living in the villa: study, bathing, theater, music, and gastronomy, as explains the architect of this neat little home. The amazing thing is that it doesn't feel so small on the inside thanks to the really high ceiling area. Despite the fact that it's made of cold concrete, the inside of this home is really neat, cozy, and comfortable. Bayer Bittori by Tall Arquitectos, Mexico. This next one isn't a home, But the design of it is so cool that we just had to include it. But if you happen to be afraid of heights, then get ready to hold on to something tight. Bayerbitori is a concept restaurant and is being designed by chef Maria Andrea Payne. This isn't your regular eatery though, as this restaurant precariously hangs off the edge of a mountain cliff. As you approach the restaurant, the only visible elements are the simple concrete building, emphasizing the mountain landscape. A reflective pool marks the entry, and when you descend the stairs into the dining area, only then do you realize you're standing over the edge of a mountain cliff. There's a central open-air patio with a glass floor looking straight down the Copper Canyon. It's just a concept for now, but when it's built and done, you'll hear about it here. House inside a rock. Imagine owning a home that is part of a giant rock sitting out in the desert in the middle of nowhere, and you'll have the idea behind this crazy concept home. Designed by a Shanghai-based architect, they got some influence from the rock-cut tomb architecture of Saudi Arabia's Madain Saleh. Well, the rock isn't real and neither is the house, but the idea is a pretty cool one. Parts of the rock home on the outside would use prefab concrete slabs, and of course the inside of the sandstone rock would be fair game and could be cut in any way the owner or designer chose. Right now it's only a 3D rendering, but one day you might also see this one come to fruition. We hope you enjoyed this video. Which one of these houses would you like to live in? Let us know in the comments. And if you like the video, don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you'll be the first to know when a new video arrives. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.